Alright guys, today we're going to work on the tip calculator. Now I don't think I'm going to go all the way through this. I think at the end I'm going to leave you to read the chapters and figure out the code. But I'm going to show you like how to format and build all the UI part. And when it's done it should look like this. So basically somebody can just type in like, well, I had lunch, my lunch was $15.87. And then they'll get different tip amounts, and you can actually slide this and change the other side to if I got crappy service or if I got good service, that kind of stuff. Alright, so moving on. First thing we need to do obviously is open up XCode, and you want to create a new XCode project, and you want a single view application. And I'm going to name it Tip Calculator. And you want to set this for iPhone. So normally, I think the last time we coded it was universal, so our stuff would go for everything. But now we want to focus on just making an app just for the iPhone. And now where we're going to send it to, and I'm going to send it there. Alright, now, because we're doing this specifically for the iPhone, we don't want it to landscape left or landscape right, so we're going to get rid of those actions here. And then make sure your device says iPhone. Alright, next we want to hit MainStoryboard. And then this is obviously where our phone's going to be. And down here on any, remember, by default it makes the devices or the playground for any device, and we're going to fix that and just click on the word any, and you see like it started like this, any width, any height, but we want to set it to compact width, regular height, and just click in there anywhere, and now you can see it looks more like a phone app. So that's where we need to be. Alright, now we're going to start adding stuff into our program. So over here on the right you're going to look for label, and we're going to use a lot of those. So click, drag, and you want to see these blue lines pop up. And that's exactly where you want to put it. So make sure you see the blue lines and then let go. Now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to change this to the word bill amount. So over here on the label part, bill amount. All right, once that's done, now we're going to add another label underneath that label. So grab a label again, drag it over, and again make sure you see the two blue lines. Boom. Now this one we're going to go all the way across the screen till we see the other blue line. Boom, nice. And we're going to drag this. You can see when I click on it, so make sure the mouse is positioned correctly so that it changes like this. Hold down and you see where it says height 21. So that's 21 points. So we want to change that to 30. So I'm going to scroll down slowly. Boom. Because this is where the user is actually going to input their stuff. Then we're going to remove the word label from there. Hit enter. Alright, and then now what we want to do is we want to change the background color. So if I go over here and look and scroll down, I see background. And I want to change that. I don't want to pick a custom color. I want to hit other. And then these crayons pop up. And the book wants you to do sky. You can really do any color that you want. And then we're going to turn the opacity to 50%. So again, you can pick any color. Just make sure that it looks like this. So this is where the user is actually going to input their amounts. Ta-da! Alright, next we're going to add another label underneath that. And remember, we want to do the constraints because they show us like where we should position those things. And then I'm going to make this one bigger. And now you can either double click in here, or you can just go up here and click. And we're going to type in custom tip percentage. Colon. Alright, then we're going to add another label. I don't want to do that. Let me check this. That's too big. So we'll leave that there. And I'll take this label, and now I get my constraints. Good. And we're going to change this one to say 18%. So when you click off, it should look like that. And 18% is going to kind of be our default. So like when they first open it up and they type something in, one of the first numbers that they'll get is 18% of the total amount. And then we're going to put a slider in that they can adjust to change the percentage. So let's drag in the slider. So now if I look down, I'm looking for slider. There we go. I'm going to drag that up there to the top. And I typically want to put that in the middle. And then I can grab these ends. Remember, make sure your mouse changes. And go all the way to the blue lines. Boom. Ta-da! Now we want to change the minimum value to 0 and the top value to 30. So I'm up here and that's where I'm changing that. Because 30% obviously is going to be our max. And then we want to change the current value to 18. Because that's going to be our default. So that would be the position of the slider for 18%. Alright, now we need to add some more labels. Where did you go? So we're going to pop a label in about there. And this one's going to say 15%. And then we're going to grab another one, pop it right about there. And this one's going to say 18%. I'm going to click off the screen right there. So what's going to happen is we're going to put a couple of different boxes down here. And whatever we type in for the bill amount, whatever our lunch is, so let's say our lunch is $25 because we went somewhere really fancy. It'll automatically calculate a 15% tip and then an 18% tip. But the 18% side here, we're going to be able to move the slider and actually adjust this percentage when we're all said and done. So they're going to have two choices. They can either stick with the static 15% or they can move the slider and pick a different percentage if they want. So just try to position these to equal sides of where the slider is. So you can kind of see mine. From here to here is about equal distance, and from here to here is about equal distance. All right, now we're going to grab another label and move it here underneath the 15. And we're going to change its size so its height is 30. So boom. And we're going to change its width to 156. And then we're going to reposition it to the middle. So when you see that, that's good. All right, next we're going to remove the text out of there. So that's gone. Then we're going to set the background color to banana, which is actually kind of nasty. So remember, right? And my little slider pops up, so I need to make sure I'm over here on the edge. Hit other. And you can do banana if you want. There's lemon, there's banana. And again, we typically want to set this to 50%. Ooh, let's do a fancy purple. I'm not really liking that either. I know, I'm such a dill hole. I'll just do the purple. Okay. Alright, now text is going to show up there, so I'm going to scroll back up here. And we want alignment centered because we want whatever text is in there to align to the center. Then we want to set the minimum, or the auto shrink here, to minimum font scale. So auto shrink and minimum font scale. And then we need to set the size to 0.75. 0.75. Enter. Where did that go? Click on that back there. So minimum font scale, 0.75. All right, then we're going to duplicate this baby. So I'm going to hold Option and drag it down and create a new one. And you'll see as you're dragging, like the little alignment thing pops up, and that's where you stop. And now I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to grab both of these. And now I'm not touching anything or not pushing anything down. Now I'm going to hold Control, and I'm going to drag these to the right. And apparently they're too big. So now I'm going to drag these two to the left. So hold Shift, grab those two. So apparently they didn't quite line up. Let's do it that way. Ah! So you want to do them both at the same time, otherwise you'll have issues. Alright, apparently those are too big, so I don't know where they said that width should be 156. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Shift and get rid of these two by hitting the delete key. And then I'm going to grab these two, and I'm going to change that. Oh, apparently only one change at a time. Let's try 140. Ah, too bad, I'm too close to that. Let's try this one. Alright, now Shift, grab them both, Option, drag, and that's good. So Shift, grab them both, Option, or I don't want Option, I just want to move them over. Good. And I'm going to move this 18 over. Boom. So now everything kind of lines up the way it should, because we're going to put labels over here on the left to signify what those values are. So play with that to make sure it all works out right, and we'll move on. Alright, next we're going to add two more labels. First I'm going to grab one here, and then that's going to be the tip. So I'm going to change the text. I'll just leave it all lowercase, or like that. So tip, and then I want to grab another label, and that one's going to be total. So you can see, well, obviously when they enter information in here, the tip amounts are going to pop up in these two boxes, and their total for their check would be here. So again, one thing that's really nice about XCode is obviously all the little lines kind of pop up to show you how to line everything up correctly, which is really cool. I wish Unity had something like this. But I digress. Alright, next we're going to scroll up a little bit, and we're going to add a text field. So if I'm over here, where is text field? Nope, I'm too far down. There it is. Alright, text field. So I'm going to add this here. I'm trying to put that, we'll just put it there for now. And then in the inspector here, we're going to change some stuff. Oh, apparently I want to move this to the bottom edge of the screen. Like that. Alright, and then where is it? Alright, there should be a place where I can change the keyboard type. There it is, keyboard type 2. And I want to change it to phone pad? Number pad. And then I want to change its appearance to dark. So what will happen is when this actually opens up, they'll see a keypad here and they can enter the amount of their bill. Now just to check, we're going to fire off the simulator and see what that looks like. Wait for it. And now, next obviously we're going to add constraints to move this stuff all around. But I wonder why my keypad thing didn't open up. We'll have to figure that out. So, moving on. Alright, another thing that's also nice about XCode as opposed to Unity or some other, every time that you're typing this stuff in, it automatically saves it for you, which is kind of cool. So if for some reason we just shut the program down right now, it saves for us. But just in case, I think there is a file save option. So this would be a good spot to save. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is, now we're going to work on the constraints to make sure everything kind of lines up. So if we click in the white background area, we can kind of scroll down, and there's this little button here, and you'll see it says Resolve Auto Layout Issues. So we're going to click on that, and then I have no idea. We're supposed to be able to add missing constraints. Apparently I can't. Oh, duh. This is not the white background. This is the storyboard, or the builder. This is the white background. So make sure you click here. So clicking. Then hit this and hit add missing constraints. And now hopefully if we can run this in the simulator. Ta-da! Now it looks all nice and neat. So based on this, now you can kind of either reposition it, but what we're going to do next is we're going to add some manual constraints so you can kind of see how that works. So I'm going to turn that off on the simulator, and we're going to move forward. All right, next we're going to hold Shift and then click our little boxes here. So make sure all 4 are picked, and then go down here and click that, and then we're going to add 3 constraints, and we're also going to set this to equal widths. And we're good. Now if you want to see what that did, we're going to run the simulator again. And you can see how it funked us all up. It moved everything kind of over on top of our stuff. So now we're going to fix that. All right, now according to your book, let me fire this off again. According to your book, this should have also covered up this 18. And then here in where it says step 3, debug the missing 18% label, they show you how to fix that. But I think because we resized these to like 142 instead of 156, that didn't cover that up. So we only need to focus on this. But they show you, and I'm gonna go back into this here, how to fix that. So if I go to click on the 18 label and then go here to the size, I can actually see all the constraints, and I can edit them manually if I want to. But ours is still showing, so we're good. So we're gonna skip page 95. Ooh, I take that back. Because whatever they do to fix this also fixes the tip and total thing. So again, go back. Wait for it. Okay, so in the book it says that these 2 are covered up and that this one's covered up, but obviously ours is not. And then they show you how to fix it, but their fix fixes everything. So what they say is go into this label here and remove, first they say trailing space to super view, and then align to label. And by removing the trailing space to super view, so we're going to click on that and hit delete, and that should go. And then theoretically, yeah, that fixes it. So not only does it fix the 18, but it also fixes the tip and total. And you can read on page 95 how that does that. Close that out. So apparently you can't skip page 95. All right, so again, this is another good spot to save. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start creating some outlets. And outlets allow us to link different spaces in our application or our app to code. All right, next what we need to do is we need to start interfacing between the UI that we just built and the code in the game. So the code is all here under the view controller, and then obviously our storyboard is right here. So we need to fix this. We need to have 2 of these together so that we can kind of like drag between the 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit View, Assistant Editor, and Assistant Editor on the right. Ooh, that did not work for me. I'll bet that works for you though. Why does mine not work? Oh, Show Assistant Editor, duh. Now, I think I can move this. I'll just move this one. Like that. And again, I'm moving my mouse is what I'm actually moving. I don't know how to work in class, but I can move my finger over my mouse and rotate that stuff. Okay, so that's where we want to be. So don't care how you do it, just try to split your screen like that. Now your book says on page 97 that as long as you click over here on the main storyboard, that there should be a symbol in the toolbar for 2 little circles, and they show it says it's next, select the Assistant Editor button on the XCode toolbar. And again, it has like 2 circles intersecting each other. I don't see that anywhere. Nope, not anywhere. So, moving on. All right, then you'll notice in the code some override functions. Ooh, we just talked about that. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to control drag. We're going to control drag this blue label here to line 11, class view controller. So I'm going to click on that, which I already did. I'm going to hold control, and I'm going to drag it to line 11 and let go. And then that little window pops up. And then we're going to name this the bill amount label. So bill amount, and I think we need to do this in camel case just to be sure. Yeah, let's just be consistent. Bill, oh my gosh, it helps if I spells. All right, and then hit connect. Booyah! And look at that. So these IB outlets are just links to UI elements in our storyboard. All right, now we need to do this a whole bunch more times. So the second one is this little 18 label. So remember, I'm going to grab, I'm going to hold control, I'm going to click and drag and put that right underneath there. And then we're going to call this one custom tip percentage label 1. Custom tip percentage label 1. Enter. So your stuff should look like that. And if I made that bigger, that would all line up. But I'll leave it like this so I can grab all of these different labels. So now we're going to grab all our different labels that change or anything that the user input's going to do, and we're going to add those over. So next we're going to do the slider. So I'm going to click on the slider. Slider. I'm going to hold control, drag. I want it right underneath this one. Is that right? And then we're going to call this one custom tip percentage slider. Custom tip. Oh my gosh, funked that all up. Percentage slider. Now, we can fix the missing line there. I'm going to try to grab, oh really? Come on. Why is the first time I grab this, I had no problem dragging it over. There we go. I can just remove that line and add a line there. So that's where we should look like. All right, I'm going to grab that again and move it over a hair. It's those extra stuff in there that kind of funks me all up, but I digress. All right, next we want to grab this little 18, hold control, drag it over. Oh, see, I'm going to get, oh, there it goes. And this is going to be custom tip percentage label 2. Custom tip percentage 2. Bam. All right. All right, then we're going to grab this box, depending on what color you made it, and we're going to drag that one over there. So again, highlight the box, hold control, drag it over, and let go. And then this one's going to be called tip 15 label. And then we're going to grab this one underneath there. And then that one's going to be total 15 label. So hold control, drag it over, and total 15 label. Hey! Alright, only like 3 more to go. So, then we need tip custom label, which I believe is this one. Let me check the book real quick. Yes. Alright, so we're going to drag that one over. And that one's going to be tip custom. Oh, why do I keep doing that? Label. And then we need total custom label. So that's going to be this one. So hold control, drag it on over, make sure you position it correctly, let go. And then this is total custom label. Alright, then one more to go. Now we need to grab that input field down here. Control drag that in there. And that is going to be input text field. And connect. Ta-da! Alright, so if I make this a little bigger, that's what your stuff should look like at this point. So you should have 9 outlets created. And they should look just like they do on the top of page 99, or the screen that you're currently looking at. Alright, next we're going to grab this text field again, and we're going to drag it here between 25 and 26. So I'm holding control, dragging it right there between 25 and 26, let go. Then the pop-up window comes up. Then here under connection type, we're going to change that to action. Woo! Now for the name, we're going to put calculate action. Or calculate tip. Calculate tip. But don't hit enter yet. Then go here to the event and hit editing changed. So that's how it should look before you hit connect or hit enter. And when you hit connect, this is what you should see. Alright, now we want to connect. Get out of there. I want to grab the slider. I'll move this over here. And we want to attach the slider to this function. So I'm going to grab the slider, hold control, and drag it here to the action and let go. And that is totally not what I wanted to do. So hit cancel. Now I'm holding control, grabbing the slider. What I want to do is I want to link the action. There you go. So I apparently have to go, if you go down too far you get the line. So then if I go like this, I want to connect that action. So when I move the slider, I want it to go to connect to this function and let go. Ta-da! So now that should link to that. Alright, now at this point you're all set. You want to start at the bottom of page 100 and start reading from there and enter the code. Now you can make this bigger so that you can code, but if I just show you the code, then you won't read the book and you won't read like what all the different code things do. So that's why I'm going to stop here and let you start at the very bottom of page 100 where it says 3.6 class view controller, and then from there you've got a couple pages that goes all the way to like 109, then it wraps up. So you've got like 8 pages there, but only they only have very small snippets of code. It's mostly reading to understand what the code is. And if you look at 105, you can see you're going to add like, I don't know, less than 100 lines of code. So no big deal. So then when you're all done, wrap that sucker up and hopefully it works. So if you have any questions, make sure you bring them up in class during the lab. And other than that, have a good one.